Hi guys, it's Kayla here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my March wrap-up. Yay! This is the very first wrap-up video I have ever done. I am excited to do it because that's a part of BookTube and March is over. It's already April 5th. I think it's already April 5th. And I'm 5 days into April and I just kept putting this video off, but I finally have some time. I got home from work. I might look a little tired, but I just got home from work, so I still look kind of nice. So for March, I only read 4 books. Now, that's pretty good for me because I haven't been reading as much as I used to because of just being an adult, I think, and excuses, you know? But some other booktubers on here, I mean, they can read. Like, they'll read double digits in a month, and that is impressive. And maybe I'll get there someday. I know I can read that much, but I'm baby steps, I guess. But 4 books in a month is pretty big. It's pretty good for me. So I'm going to kind of do some stats. I kind of got this idea from Gabby Reads. She is a booktuber that I follow. I love her. And when she does a lot of her videos, she likes to do stats on her books and how she reads and stuff. And so I kind of want to do that too. So I'll link her channel down below so you can check her out if you haven't, because she's awesome. Yeah, so I read 4 books this month. Let's see, 1, 2... Oh, how cool. Okay, so out of my 4 books, 2 of them were written by men and the other 2 were written by women. That's kind of cool. One of the books was written by 2 authors and both of those were men. So there's a 50-50 there. Nice even author gender. That's good. I feel like my genre was all over the place. So one of my genres was erotica, contemporary romance. I also read a true crime nonfiction. I read a contemporary gay romance. I also read a mystery thriller suspense novel. So I got a variety of reading done in this month. So that was really good. That was really good. So I'm really proud of myself. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the book that I read first. I'm just gonna do them in the order that I read them. So the very first book that I read in the month of March was Grey by E.L. James. This book I gave 3 out of 5 stars, I think. Let me double check. Let's go to GOODREADS. So yes, I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I was really excited to read this in the beginning. Let me tell you what it's about. It's the 50 Shades of Grey book as told by Christian. That's what this book is about. And I was really excited to read this. I thought it would be interesting to see it from his point of view. And I was really excited in the beginning. And for the first third of the book, it was super interesting, page turner. It was fascinating. It was really exciting to kind of see what his point of view was in the same events that I read in the 50 Shades of Grey book. So that was really cool, but it got boring. It got repetitive, it got boring. And maybe part of that is because I've already read the story. I knew the story. I knew what was gonna happen. So, you know, it's not as fun that way. His thought processes and stuff like I got it, you know, like I got the gist of it. It felt repetitive, like, okay, he's in love with her, and yes, he doesn't know he's fighting it, and yet, you know, like, it was like, yes, he wants to hurt her, you know, sexually, because that's what he's into. So, I mean, his thought process got old quick, and there's so much sex in here. Oh my God. Like, I guess the first book, I guess 50 Shades of Grey has a lot of sex in it too, because, I mean, this book pretty much matches it scene for scene, just from his point of view. So, but I didn't realize, like, God, and this got boring. The sex got boring. And I'm like, if sex in a book gets boring, that's not good. You might want to dial it back, So yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. There's more to come. There's Darker, and then Freed, I'm pretty sure, is gonna come out, and all the books are gonna be from his point of view. So am I gonna finish them? Probably not. I kind of satisfied my curiosity and I'm good to go. So it was all right. I mean, if you really love this story, then sure, go out and get it. I mean, you might love it, but I just, yeah, I wasn't super crazy about it. So that's the first book I read, Grey by E.L. James. The next book I read after Grey was Mindhunter by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. This is a true crime nonfiction novel. Well, not a novel, but it's a book. It's a true crime nonfiction book. And after reading Grey and all of the romance and the erotica and all that sex, I was like, okay, I really need something really different. So I was like, I've been really excited to read Mindhunter. And so I was like, this is a very big difference to Grey, so I'll read this. So I read this. It was really good. I can't remember what I gave it. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It was super good, very informational. The only reason why I didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars is because I was kind of expecting something a little different with this book. I really wanted it to be more in-depth and descriptive about John Douglas's actual like research when it came to studying serial killers and going and interviewing them. Like, I pretty much wanted the book to just be about that. I wanted and was hoping for really detailed discussions of the interviews and how he you know, started putting all the information together and how he started coming up with all of the very famous and now well-known terms like MO and organized and disorganized killer and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I was hoping for. What I got largely was a autobiography about his life, largely centering around law enforcement, which was really interesting. So the first half of the book is him talking about like his life and how he kind of, what steps led him to becoming an officer in law enforcement and being involved with the FBI. And then the second half of the book was more about all of these really well-known cases that he worked on over the years during his career. So he talked a lot about some famous serial killers, other killers, kidnappings, sexual assaults, all kinds of stuff. And he would jump around a little bit between the years, but the storytelling was really good. It was real informational. I learned a lot, and yeah, so it was really good. If you love the show Mindhunter and you really kind of want that, this probably isn't the book for you. Mindhunter, the show, was based off of this book. It was inspired by this book. It was not based off this book. Like I said, it's very different. The show takes bits and pieces of events and stuff that happened in this book, and they kind of put a storyline to it and expand on a storyline. This one, like I said, this is more informational. It really is like a true crime informational nonfiction book. So, but it's really good. 4 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I'm super glad I read it. I learned a lot. And John Douglas, he has written other books, several other books kind of about this kind of topic. So more than likely I will read some of his other stuff in the future. So yeah, so I really liked this and I highly recommend it. If you're into true crime, you're gonna love it. Alright, so after that, I wanted something very different from that too. I kind of am like that when it comes to books. Like, if I read something, as soon as I'm done with it, I kind of want something completely different. So my mood can change all the time when it comes to what I want to read. So after reading the true crime book, I was wanting something a little softer, a little more fiction, story-based, something sweeter. So I thought, oh, it's a perfect time to read Call Me By Your Name. Oh, I was so excited to read this, and I was like, this is perfect. This is just like the perfect thing to get away from true crime. This was so good. This is a love story between Elio and Oliver, and it takes place in Italy, and Elio is 17 and Oliver, I think he's in his 20s, probably early to mid 20s, and It's just this beautiful romance. It takes place in the 80s, and if you've seen the movie, you're gonna love the book. If you loved the book, you're gonna love the movie. I highly recommend it to almost anybody. I mean, I wouldn't say it's suitable for children. Definitely not. I would say a 17-year-old plus kind of story. It's really beautiful, wonderfully written. It's lovely. I cried. I cried a lot at the end of this book. Oh, I really did. I'm trying to remember like when I really stopped crying. Yeah, gosh, the ending, I cried. It was so beautiful, and it stuck with me for days afterward. I just kept thinking about it and like researching it, and just you know, I don't know, it was great. So I think I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, easy. It was just gorgeous and lovely, and there's a possible sequel coming out called Find Me, and I'm excited about it. So I definitely recommend this. Read it. It's a beautiful love story. So that's the 3rd book I read. And the last book I read, I actually don't have in physical copy. I have it right here. It is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell is the mystery thriller suspense book that I read. It was the last book I read in the month of March, and I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really good book. I feel I don't read thrillers and suspense novels a whole lot, so I don't have very much experience with them, but it was really good. I'm gonna read you the synopsis because it can tell it better than I can. It says, and this is off of GOODREADS, Then she was 15, her mother's golden girl. She had her whole life ahead of her, and then in the blink of an eye, Ellie was gone. Now. It's been 10 years since Ellie disappeared, but Laurel has never given up hope of finding her daughter. And then one day, a charming and charismatic stranger called Floyd walks into a cafe and sweeps Laurel off her feet. Before too long, she's staying the night at this house and being introduced to his 9-year-old daughter. Poppy is precocious and pretty, and meeting her completely takes Laurel's breath away. Because Poppy is the spitting image of Ellie when she was that age. And now all those unanswered questions that have haunted Laurel come flooding back. What happened to Ellie? Where did she go? And who still has secrets to hide? So yes, that is what it's about. It was a really good book. It was a page turner. It was easy to read. It was super interesting. I think probably that if you read thriller and suspense novels a lot, you might not like this one as much because it's I would say this is more like a beginner version. This is like a beginner's novel for people who are getting into the genre of thriller and suspense. I figured out a lot of the big twists as I was reading, and I really don't think it's because of like a failure on the author's part. I really think it was something that was intentional. It wasn't meant to be super cryptic or hard to figure out. There were things that I didn't figure out. There were things that surprised me. I kind of got the bigger main points figured out, but the details and stuff, I mean, I could have never guessed the details. So it was really interesting. It was sad. It was heartbreaking. It talked a lot about family dynamics and how a tragic event can change a family forever, how it can rip them apart, how it changes everyone, and like the ripple effect of a tragedy and someone going missing, or maybe someone losing their life. Like, it affects so many different people in so many different ways. And so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of themes of like a mother and her childhood, growing up, you know, just lies and deceit and forgiving. I mean, there's just like a lot in there, and it was really good. It took place in a town outside of London. It wasn't far from London, so it was a very British novel. I really enjoyed reading it and immersing myself in that world of a whole nother country, a whole nother culture. It was interesting. So I really loved it. I highly recommend it. My sister read it. She loved it too. She gave it 4 out of 5 stars too. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because there was really one thing that kind of irked me a little bit, but it wasn't a bad thing. It was kind of like a total personal thing. Like, I personally didn't like it, but it really has nothing to do with like the book or like how good the book is. But also, I mean, it was a good book. It wasn't like my all-time faves. Like when I love a book, I give it 5 stars. So it wasn't one of those, but it was good. So I gave it 4. So yeah, so that is my March wrap up. Those are the 4 books I read for March, and they were very different and there was a variety and I had fun reading them. So I had 1 book that was 3 stars, 2 books that were 4 stars, and 1 book that was 5 stars. So that's pretty good. I wasn't too disappointed with what I read this month. So yay. So yeah, thank you for watching. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and put in the comments anything. If you've read any of these books, what did you think about them? What books did you read in March? Do you have any recommendations for me? Maybe books that you think I might love, because I'm always looking. I'm always willing to add to my TBR. I don't have a problem adding to my to be read list. Not at all. So yeah, it was really fun. April, I'm hoping to read more. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. 4 books in a month is really good for me. Kidnappings, rapings, God. Okay.